In the last class, we discussed about the single effect vapor absorption system. Okay, this diagram I didn't show to you people in the last class, but actually, as you have seen the other diagram, this was the diagram which you have seen in the last class. Okay, this diagram, this is the single effect vapor absorption system, and I told you why we call it as a single effect, as we are supplying the heat only in the generator here at this particular point, and this is the generator, and this heat is utilized only once for producing the refrigerant here. Okay, so since we are producing the refrigerant only once in the system, that is why it is known as the single effect cycle actually, or a single effect vapor absorption refrigerant system. Okay, that is the only reason. And I have also explained you about the log T versus 1 by uh, log P versus 1 by T diagram. This diagram I discussed with you in the last class, and I told you that uh, this is for the single effect, and this line is known as isosphere. Okay, isosphere means constant concentration. Okay, so that is the uh, log P versus 1 by T diagram for single effect lithium bromide water absorption refrigeration cycle actually. Today my concern is to teach you about the double effect vapor absorption system. Now before that, like this diagram once again appears now. See, if you see this diagram and that log P versus 1 by T diagram which I showed you, see, we have tried to show this connecting lines in the form of the constant concentration. So this line is a sort of isosphere. Okay, it's a isosphere actually. Isosphere means constant concentration, and concentration relates to the uh, mass of the absorbent divided by the mass of absorbent divided by mass of solution. So this is the definition of the concentration. So because this line pertains to the refrigerant, and as you know that the mass of absorbent, so there is no absorbent in the refrigerant, so that is why the value of x is 0 here. And here if you see this point, this is the absorber here. Okay, and the line which leaves the absorber has a strong solution leaving to it, so it is represented as xs. Xs stands for it is strong in refrigerant basically. And similarly when we say xw stands for it is strong in it is weak solution and it is weak in refrigerant. So S stands for strong and W stands for weak. Okay, so that is how we have defined these terms. So now I will go to the double effect system. So this is the series flow double effect absorption refrigeration system. When you see this diagram, it seems to be a difficult diagram, but I will try to explain you what is the difference between this particular system and the earlier system which I have shown you. Let us try to understand it. Now, first of all, have a look at it. Here in this particular case, uh, on the left hand side, we have a evaporator. Here we have a refrigerant expansion valve, and here we have a condenser. These are the three components which are also there in case of a vapor absorption system. Apart from that, we have uh, 4-5 more components, like first is the desorber. It is also known as generator. Okay, then we have the solution heat exchanger, then we have solution expansion valve, we have pump, and we have absorber. So you can see we have taken 5 more components in addition to evaporator, refrigerant expansion valve, and condenser. Okay, and these 5 components, that is desorber, solution heat exchanger, this is number 2, then solution expansion valve number 3, absorber number 4, and pump number 5. We are utilizing it in place of, can you tell me in place of which component in a vapor compression system? Anyone?
Sir, compressor.
In place of compressor we are utilizing it. Okay, and in a basic cycle we don't use this solution heat exchanger also. Okay, so basically we replace the compressor by the 4 components, which are desorber, solution expansion valve, pump, and absorber. So I hope this part is clear to you. This is the single effect vapor absorption system. As I told you, when I say single effect system, I am supplying the heat in the desorber or the generator. This is the heat supply here. Okay, here we are supplying the heat. This is UG, and this heat is utilized for generating the refrigerant only once. Here we are generating the refrigerant. That is why the name generator comes into picture. So this is the mass of the refrigerant which is generated from the generator. Okay, and this is generated only once. That is why we are calling it as a single effect system. And in one of my previous lectures I have already told you that the COP of this system is somewhere around 0.7 to 0.8 if it is water lithium bromide system, and it varies between 0.6 to 0.7 if it is ammonia water system. Okay, so that is the approximate values of the COP of single effect system. Now what happens, one more thing that I told you in the last lecture is that the heat which we are supplying in the generator is at a temperature of say 100 to 110 degrees Celsius. Now suppose this heat which I am supplying in the generator is available at a higher temperature. Okay, so what I am saying is, trying to say here is that this heat is available to me now at a temperature of 140 to 150 degrees Celsius, or could be the source temperature could vary between say 130 to 170. So I have assumed that this heat is available to me at 140 to 150 degrees Celsius, which I can supply in the generator. Now when I supply this heat, suppose if I want to supply this heat in a single effect vapor absorption system, there won't be any problem actually. We can always supply it. But the problem is we are wasting the high grade energy. Okay, from Corner's theorem, if the higher temperature or the source temperature is high, okay, and the low temperature or the temperature at the sink is constant, say 30 degrees Celsius, and you are operating a heat engine in that. So if the higher temperature or the source temperature is increased, then the work output which we can get will be more. So if we are utilizing that energy at 140, 150 or 170 degrees Celsius in a single effect system, which utilizes the temperature at a utilizes the heat at a lower temperature of around 100 and 110 degrees Celsius, we are actually wasting the energy. So rather than going for a single effect system, we should go for a double effect system. So the main advantage of a double effect system is we are generating the mass of the refrigerant twice. One here, as you can see, it is MR2. This is the mass of the refrigerant. Secondly, we are generating the mass of the refrigerant here. So basically, in the previous case, if I had say 100 kilojoules of the heat available in the generator, and I was generating say 1 kg of the refrigerant there, in this particular case, I would be able to generate twice the refrigerant which I was generating in single effect system. Other things remaining same, other temperature of the evaporator remains same. Okay, when the mass flow rate in the evaporator is doubled for the same input state and the same output state, the cooling effect which I will get will be doubled. And I can say that in the previous case also I was supplying say 100 kilojoules of energy in single effect system also, and in double effect system also I am supplying the same amount of the energy, 100 kilojoules. So that is what I want to tell you. But what happens in the evaporator here, the temperature limit means the entry temperature and the exit temperature will be same. Rather I would say that during the evaporation the temperature remains constant actually. Okay, so I am saying that if it is saturated vapor here, x is equal to 1, and here it was the wet vapor of the water actually, wet vapor. Okay, so these two states means state number 9 and state number 10 are same as in case of a single effect system. But now what has happened, the mass flow rate is doubled. So the mass flow rate which is entering here is now mr, which is, you can say, it is double that of the mass flow rate in single effect system. Okay, in single, SE stands for the single effect system. So naturally the cooling effect which will be produced here in the evaporator will be doubled. So when this cooling effect is doubled, how do we define COP? COP is defined as cooling effect divided by the heat which we are supplying in the generator plus the pump work. So pump work in this particular case, we won't be able to neglect actually. In the previous case, we neglected the pump work. Though in this case, we may not be able to neglect the pump work, but its value is not very large. Okay, so we can say because this value of QE is doubled. Okay, it has become 2 times the previous case. And in case of single effect system, as I told you, for water lithium bromide system, the value of COP is somewhere around 0.7 to 0.8. So this value gets doubled. So the value of COP comes about to be 1.4. If you will see the experimental values, that this will come out to be somewhere around 1. Say 1 to 1.4. So in this range, you can get the value of the COP in case of a double effect system. Now I have just explained you a little bit about what is the advantage of a double effect system. Now I am going to explain you about uh, uh, the components of a double effect system actually. Now, first of all, let us see on the right hand side. On the right hand side, you can see this is the circuit. Okay, don't consider this refrigerant throttle valve here for the time being. If you see the three remaining components, one is the condenser, another is the refrigerant throttle valve, and the next one is the evaporator. So these three components are already there in a vapor compression system. Okay, and if we compare this double effect system with respect to a single effect system, in single effect system we were having the absorber, we were having the pump, we were having the solution heat exchanger, we were having the solution throttle valve, and we were having the generator. These 5 components were there in the single effect system also. Okay, so what additional changes we have done in this particular case? Let us try to understand. We have added one more solution heat exchanger here, we have added one more solution throttle valve here, and we have added one more generator condenser here in a double effect system. Okay, so apart from and one more refrigerant throttle valve here also. Okay, so you can say how many additional components are there in case of a double effect system. This I can call as let us say this is number 1, this is the additional solution heat exchanger, then this is the additional solution throttle valve number 2, then this is the additional generator here, and then there is additional refrigerant throttle valve here. So 4 additional components I have added in a single effect system to make it work as a double effect system. Okay, now what exactly how it is working, now I am going to explain you that actually. So from this side we have the refrigerant which is in the saturated vapor form, which is entering this absorber here. Okay, and here we have the weak solution which is entering in the absorber. Weak solution means we have lesser of the refrigerant and more of the absorbent. So we have higher quantity of the lithium bromide here. Okay, lithium bromide is the absorbent, so it is its quantity is more rather in comparison to refrigerant actually. Okay, and here we have the saturated vapor, which is basically steam. Okay, so you have the saturated steam which is entering in the absorber. Now once it enters into the absorber, both this weak solution and this steam, they mix with each other. There is a generation of heat which is rejected to the surroundings here. This is the heat rejected by the absorber, and because the mixing of the refrigerant, which is basically steam, takes place in the lithium bromide. So here at point number 1, we have the strong solution which is represented by the concentration XS. Okay, so we get the strong solution because the refrigerant quantity is now increased. Now what we are doing, we are pumping it with the help of this pump to the generator pressure. Now this generator, in the previous case of single effect system, I said this is generator, but now because there are two generators here, one is this generator and one is this generator, so this generator actually is a high pressure generator, whereas this component, this is a low pressure generator. So these are the two generators. So in the pump which is shown here between state point number 1 and 2, we are pumping the weak solution, strong solution to the HP generator pressure, high pressure generator pressure. Okay. Simultaneously, if you focus on point number 12, okay, which is here, which is the exit from the high pressure generator here. This is the particular point actually. Okay. So from here we have weak solution which is coming out. Once again, why weak solution? As I told you, the function of the generator is to generate the refrigerant. Whatever is the refrigerant which has been absorbed in the absorber is to separate it out in the generator. So this refrigerant is generated here when we supply heat in the generator here. Okay, this is generated here, and the reason for the generation is that uh, in case of lithium bromide, the boiling point is quite high, somewhere around 700 or 800 degrees Celsius, and it's a salt actually. Okay, so if we are keeping a temperature of 140 to 150 degrees Celsius, lithium bromide will not boil, whereas for water, its normal boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius. So it boils off from the generator because the temperature is 140, 150. And moreover, the pressure which we are maintaining in the high pressure generator is also not very high. I have already told you water lithium bromide system works under vacuum actually. Okay, water lithium bromide system works under vacuum. So once this refrigerant leaves the generator here, then we have weak solution which is leaving the generator here, and we call its concentration as XW2, and the mass of the weak solution which is leaving is MW2. And if you talk about the mass which is leaving the state point 1, I can denote it by MS. This is the mass of the strong solution, this is the concentration of the strong solution, and this is the mass MW2, this is the mass of the weak solution which is leaving the generator, and XW2 is the concentration of the weak solution which is leaving the generator. Now one more thing, the weak solution which is leaving the generator could be nearly at a temperature of 140 or 150 degrees Celsius. So I can consider that if my heat source is at 140 or 150 degrees Celsius, the solution which is leaving the generator, which is MW2 mass, will be at nearly same temperature. And if you focus on state point number 1, in the absorber, the temperature which we are maintaining is 40 degrees Celsius. So what will happen? The temperature at point number 1 will be 40 degrees Celsius only. Okay. Then we are pumping it to state point 2. Say at point number 2, the temperature goes to 41 degrees Celsius. and the at state point 12 the temperature is 140 degrees Celsius, whereas state point 2 the temperature is 41 degrees Celsius. So we have a potential difference in terms of temperature which is around 100 degrees Celsius. So we would like to utilize this heat which is available in the weak solution at state point number 12. Okay, so that is why we are using a solution heat exchanger SHE2 here and a solution heat exchanger SHE1 here. So in this solution heat exchanger, the solution which is actually entering at point number 2 has already been heated to some temperature. Let us say if the temperature at point number 2 was 41 degrees Celsius, and let us say at this particular point the temperature is say 79 degrees Celsius. So at point number 3 the temperature is 79, whereas point number 12 it is 140. So we can have heat exchange from the strong solution, from the weak solution to the strong solution. Weak solution is flowing between line 12 to 13, whereas the strong solution is flowing from 3 to 11 actually. So automatically this heat transfer will take place because at point number 3 the temperature is low and at 12 the temperature is high. So this heat transfer takes place, and at 11 the temperature, I can say it could go up to say 125 degrees Celsius. So when it goes up to 125 degrees Celsius, the heat which I need to supply in the generator is actually reduced. That is the reason that I am employing two solution heat exchangers here. Now let us try to focus on the condenser and the generator condenser part actually. See, this is the generator condenser. This is the generator condenser. I have written here the temperature could be somewhere around 80 to 90 degrees Celsius, and this is the condenser here. Now focus on uh, you can say the line which is entering into the condenser here. This is the line, this one. This is entering into the condenser, and you know the pressure in the condenser will be PC. Now this pipeline is connected to this generator condenser here. Okay, and it is a sort of open vessel, you can say. So what will be the pressure here? The pressure here will also be PC. Okay, this is a pressure which is equal to PC. Now you just see here at point number 13. Okay, the pressure is PG. Okay, this is pressure in the generator is PG, and this PG is actually greater than PC. So what we need? We need a solution throttle valve here. So it's a throttle valve. What it will do? This solution throttle valve 2 will reduce the pressure from PG to PC. So the moment solution enters into the generator condenser here, the pressure is actually PC. Okay, so because in a vessel which is connected to the condenser and the condenser pressure is PC, so the pressure in the generator condenser vessel cannot be more than PC actually. So that you should always keep in your mind actually. I hope this part is clear to you. And then uh, just a minute. I think see the pressure that we will be maintaining here will be PGC. Okay, it will be PGC. Okay, we may be needing, I think, yeah, just a minute. Let me see it here. We have reduced the pressure to PGC. Yeah, pressure which we are maintaining here is PGC. I think there is a mistake in the diagram. I will see it. So we have maintained a pressure PGC, and here the pressure temperature is 80 to 90 degrees Celsius. Okay. And then what we are actually doing is, from the generator here, okay, from the generator here, we have the steam which is at high temperature and pressure which is coming out. This is steam, okay, which is at a temperature of somewhere around 140 or 150 degrees Celsius, and it is superheated steam, which this steam has still energy in itself. Okay, so what we do here, we have a heat exchanger here. This heat will be transferred to the solution which is entering at point number 14 here. Okay, and we are able to generate more refrigerant, more amount of the refrigerant here, and this refrigerant will be leaving the vessel from this position. So this is the extra refrigerant which we are able to generate, and then this refrigerant goes into the condenser, and simultaneously the refrigerant which is in the form of the steam here, this MR2, it passes through a indirect heat exchanger here. Okay, and the pressure here is equal to the high pressure in the high pressure generator actually. So it, when it has to enter into the condenser, what we need to do, we need to have employ a refrigerant throttle valve here. So this refrigerant throttle valve is employed here because the pressure is to be reduced to the pressure which is equal to the condenser pressure. I think we need a expansion valve at this particular point also. That is the mistake in the diagram. Okay, because the pressure which is existing here in the generator condenser is actually PGC. PGC is higher than the condenser pressure actually. Okay, so PGC is greater than. Okay, I think yeah, it's correct. There won't be any throttle valve here. Actually, this PGC is equal to PC. Okay, so if you will see it carefully, there are three pressure levels. One pressure level is existing here. This is PG. Okay, here the pressure level in the generator condenser is PGC, which is equal to PC. This is the second pressure level, and then we have the pressure in the evaporator here. So we have three pressure level: PG, PGC, which is equal to PC, and PE. So this expansion valve won't be needed here. So in the generator condenser, we have generated more refrigerant from the heat of the condensation of the steam actually. Okay, now what happens, this I think this diagram is now uh, not very clear actually. This refrigerant which is going inside this generator and condenser, from this refrigerant we have uh, generated certain amount of the refrigerant MR1. Okay, so now the refrigerant, the solution which is leaving this vessel is now once again more weak actually, because the refrigerant has been taken out from the solution actually. So now the mass flow rate is MW1 and this concentration is XW1. So basically, since we have removed the refrigerant, so XW1 will be greater than XW2, and then it is at 80 to 90. Okay, whereas I told you the temperature at point 2 is 41. So if this stream at point number 4 is at 80 to 90 and it is entering into this solution heat exchanger, we can always transfer the heat from the weak solution to the strong solution which is entering at point number 2. That is the purpose of this solution heat exchanger number 1. Okay, and then finally, because this stream at MW1 is at a pressure PGC which is higher than the absorber pressure, we need a solution throttle valve here. Okay, STV1. And that is how this system will work after this condenser, because both the streams are entering there. This is MR1 which is entering here, then here also this MR2, it is passing from here and it's going into the condenser here. Okay, so both are mixing and both are condensed here, and here we have total mass flow rate which is equal to MR. So actually you will have to go through it, this diagram once again, and try to understand. If any point which you have not understood, you can ask me right now, because next part I will be explaining you the log p versus 1 by t diagram. Anything which you want to ask, anyone?
Sir, how is XW1 greater than XW2? Please explain, sir. I
Okay,
didn't understand.
okay, let us see this diagram, which is a little bit more clear here. See how we have defined x actually. See, we have defined x as the mass of the absorbent divided by mass of the solution. Okay, now this solution is actually mass of the refrigerant plus mass of the absorbent. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now what we have done here, in the high pressure generator here, mr2 refrigerant is generated. Okay, this has been generated. So now what will happen to this mass flow rate here? This will reduce. So what will happen to xw2 will be greater than xs. Do you agree with this point? Because this is xs. xs में रेफ्रिजरेंट भी है और एब्जॉर्बेंट भी है, लेकिन हमने क्या किया है, रेफ्रिजरेंट थोड़ा सा निकाल दिया जनरेटर में, तो रेफ्रिजरेंट की क्वांटिटी कम हो गई, तो डिनोमिनेटर डाउन चला गया, एब्जॉर्बेंट तो उसमें लिथियम ब्रोमाइड की क्वांटिटी पे तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा, तो XW2 जो है XS से बड़ा है. इज इट क्लियर?
Yes, sir.
नाउ लेट अस लुक एट द जनरेटर कंडेंसर. जनरेटर कंडेंसर में क्या किया मैंने, यहाँ पे जो स्टीम थी उसको कंडेंस करा. इस सर्किट में यहाँ पे इस पार्ट में स्टीम कंडेंस हुई और पॉइंट नंबर 16 पे मेरे पास वाटर आ गया. ठीक है, और जो हीट कंडेंस हुई वहां से मैंने कुछ रेफ्रिजरेंट और जनरेट कर दिया MR1 की फॉर्म में. तो क्या हुआ, यहाँ पे जो सॉल्यूशन आ रहा था जिसका मास था MW2, ओके, जो कि पॉइंट नंबर 14 पे है, ये जब एंटर करा तो ऑलरेडी इसमें से हम कुछ रेफ्रिजरेंट पहले निकाल चुके थे. मतलब अब हमारे पास XW2 की वैल्यू अगर मैं लिखता हूँ तो मेरे पास था मास ऑफ एब्जॉर्बेंट. एब्जॉर्बेंट तो रेफ्रिजरेंट के साथ जा नहीं रहा, और यहाँ पे है मास ऑफ रेफ्रिजरेंट प्लस मास ऑफ एब्जॉर्बेंट. ठीक है, अब जब मैंने MR1 निकाला तो मास फ्लो रेट ऑफ द रेफ्रिजरेंट जो सॉल्यूशन में है वो और डाउन चला गया, लेकिन एब्जॉर्बेंट की क्वांटिटी तो उतनी ही है ना. तो जब मैं XW1 कैलकुलेट करूंगा, क्योंकि मास ऑफ रेफ्रिजरेंट और डाउन चला गया, एब्जॉर्बेंट उतना ही है, तो XW1 की वैल्यू क्या हो जाएगी, XW2 से ज़्यादा नहीं होगी.
Yes, sir. समझ गए.
ओके, सो दिस इज हाउ इट इज टेकिंग प्लेस. एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? तो वंस अगेन आप देखो ध्यान से, यहाँ पे जो 13 और 14 पॉइंट के बीच में एक सॉल्यूशन थ्रोटल वाल्व लगाया हुआ है, उसका पर्पस है कि प्रेशर जनरेटर में था PG, ओके, इवेपोरेटर में प्रेशर है PE, एब्जॉर्बर में प्रेशर है PA. इन दोनों में जो प्रेशर है एक ही लाइन से कनेक्टेड है, इसलिए यहाँ पे जो प्रेशर है PA और PE ये दोनों इक्वल हैं. सिमिलरली यहाँ पे जो प्रेशर एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है जनरेटर कंडेंसर में, उसको मैं कह रहा हूँ PGC, और ये PGC है, और कंडेंसर में प्रेशर है PC, और ये दोनों एक ही लाइन से कनेक्टेड हैं, तो PGC और PC भी इक्वल होंगे. ओके, दिस इज यू नीड टू रिमेंबर एक्चुअली. और क्योंकि यहाँ पे देखो, अब अगर आप यहाँ पे देखोगे पॉइंट नंबर 14 पे, सॉरी पॉइंट नंबर 15 पे देखोगे, यहाँ पे प्रेशर कितना है, PG है. यहाँ पे तो एक क्लोज्ड हीट एक्सचेंजर है, तो इसलिए जब मैंने कंडेंसर में एंटर करना है यहाँ पे, आई नीड ए रेफ्रिजरेंट थ्रोटल वाल्व, क्योंकि इसमें रेफ्रिजरेंट फ्लो कर रहा था स्टीम की फॉर्म में. तो रेफ्रिजरेंट जो है उसको प्रेशर रिड्यूस करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि कंडेंसर में प्रेशर PC है और पॉइंट नंबर 16 पे प्रेशर जो है वो PG है. एंड आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू दैट PG इज ग्रेटर देन PGC इज ग्रेटर देन PE. इफेक्टिवली देखें तो PE और PA इक्वल हैं, और PGC और PC ये भी इक्वल हैं. ठीक है, तो ये दोनों आपस में इक्वल हैं और ये दोनों आपस में इक्वल है. इज इट क्लियर टू यू? ओके, नाउ
The generator and generator condenser is also connected with same line, so the pressure should be equal or greater.
कौन से पॉइंट की बात कर रहे हो?
Sir, 15 point.
15 और 16?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, जो 15 से 16 तक लाइन जा रही है, पाइपलाइन जा रही है, वो जो है जनरेटर कंडेंसर में से होके जा रही है, बट वो जो है क्लोज्ड है. तो उसमें प्रेशर कांस्टेंट रहेगा, पीजी रहेगा। इसीलिए पॉइंट नंबर 16 के और 17 के बीच में एक रेफ्रिजरेंट थ्रोटल वाल्व लगाया है, ताकि हम प्रेशर को पीजी से पीसी तक रिड्यूस कर सकें। इज इट क्लियर?
Yes, sir.
ओके, तो बेसिकली ये 3 प्रेशर लेवल्स हैं यहाँ पे इसमें। अच्छा, एक चीज आपको और बताऊंगा, ये log P वर्सेस 1/T डायग्राम से पहले, आई एम कॉलिंग इट एज ए सीरीज फ्लो। ओके, दिस इज a series flow double effect lithium bromide water absorption system. Why we are calling it as a series flow? सीरीज फ्लो इसलिए कह रहे हैं क्योंकि अगर मैं पॉइंट 1 से चल रहा हूँ, पॉइंट 2 पे गए, पॉइंट 3 पे गए, 11 पे गए, यहाँ से निकले सीरीज में, फिर यहाँ से निकले और सीधा नेक्स्ट जनरेटर कंडेंसर में चले गए, तो सॉल्यूशन जो है कहीं पे बाइफरकेट नहीं हुआ, 2 पार्ट में डिवाइड नहीं हुआ। तो इसलिए जो भी सॉल्यूशन चल रहा है वो बिल्कुल एक सीरीज में जा रहा है, मतलब एक तरह से एक ही पाइपलाइन के थ्रू होता हुआ पहले हाई प्रेशर जनरेटर में गया और उसके पास बाद जो है जनरेटर कंडेंसर में गया। जनरेटर कंडेंसर को हम लो प्रेशर जनरेटर भी कह सकते हैं। ओके, लो प्रेशर जनरेटर और कंडेंसर भी कह सकते हैं, इसीलिए इसका नाम कंडेंसर जनरेटर कंडेंसर है। एंड इट इज ऑपरेटिंग एट लोअर टेम्परेचर। मोर ओवर, आप लोगों को एक पॉइंट और बताना चाहूँगा इसके बारे में कि जब हमने टेम्परेचर हीट सोर्स का इंक्रीज कर दिया 140 से 150 डिग्री सेल्सियस, तो उसके लिए हम अगर हमें रेफ्रिजरेंट जनरेट करना है तो वी हैव टू इंक्रीज द प्रेशर आल्सो, बिकॉज आई हैव शोन यू ए diagram in the last class where you have seen this log P versus 1/T डायग्राम, जो कि मैंने एक बुक से शो किया था, आपको दिखा देता हूँ। ये डायग्राम मैंने आपको कल शो किया था। ओके, तो बेसिकली इस डायग्राम से हम अगर ध्यान से इसको देखोगे ना, तो अगर हम देखेंगे कि अगर प्रेशर इंक्रीज होता है ना, तो हमें साइमल्टेनियसली टेम्परेचर भी इंक्रीज करना पड़ेगा, सो दैट वी कैन जनरेट द रेफ्रिजरेंट। ओके, अभी इसको मैं यहाँ से नहीं बताऊंगा अभी, बट और जब हम लो प्रेशर जनरेटर कंडेंसर में जाते हैं, बिकॉज द टेम्परेचर इज लो, सो टू जनरेट द रेफ्रिजरेंट देयर we have to reduce the pressure also. So at a particular temperature and pressure level, there is a particular quantity of the refrigerant which can be generated actually. Okay, so there is a combination of pressure and temperature. उस के corresponding ही हमें जो है रेफ्रिजरेंट की क्वांटिटी मिलेगी। ओके, so that is what I wanted to tell you. Now let us try to focus here on this log P versus 1/T diagram. So we are starting from this particular point. This is point number 1, which is the exit from the absorber. Okay, ये absorber का exit है। अब मुझे ये बताओ, point number 1 पे concentration कितनी है? concentration की value है XS, और इस concentration को मैं कहूँगा कि let us say this value is say 0.5। अब अगर इस डायग्राम पे देखता हूँ मैं यहाँ पे, तो यहाँ पे x की वैल्यू, इस लाइन में x की वैल्यू 0 है, ये लाइन पे x की वैल्यू XS है, ये XW2 है और ये XW1 है, और ये जो लाइंस हैं दिस इज कांस्टेंट कंसंट्रेशन लाइन। कंसंट्रेशन मींस हमें जो लिथियम ब्रोमाइड की लाइंस हैं, लिथियम ब्रोमाइड की कंसंट्रेशन की बात हम कर रहे हैं। एंड आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू वी कॉल इट एज ए आइसोस्टियर। ओके, कांस्टेंट कंसंट्रेशन लाइन। जस्ट ए मिनट। अब मुझे ये बताओ, 1 से 2 में प्रेशर कहां से कहां पहुंच गया? ओके, अगर आप ध्यान दो तो मैंने इस डायग्राम में 3 प्रेशर लेवल शो किए। एक है इवेपोरेटर प्रेशर पीई, दूसरा मैंने शो किया है पीजीसी जो कि पीसी के इक्वल भी है, और तीसरा मैंने शो किया है पीजी जो कि हाई प्रेशर जनरेटर का प्रेशर है। सो इन द पंप वी आर इंक्रीजिंग द प्रेशर फ्रॉम PA to PG. So when the pressure increases from PA to PG, this line is followed. Yeah, this is the line which we are following here. So we reach up to point number 2 here. I have already told you we should go according to the concentration only and pressure only. Forget about the temperature when we are drawing this particular diagram. So 1 से 2 के बीच में जो pressure है that is increasing, whereas the concentration is not changing. So we have to follow a constant concentration line. And if you go to point number 3, is there any change in the concentration of the absorbent or the lithium bromide? No, there is no change, only there is change in temperature. So point number 3 will also be at the same point. Then once again, we have a solution heat exchanger 2. From in the solution heat exchanger 2, we are heating this solution having a concentration XS, but there is no change in the concentration. So point number 11 is also at the same point. So this point actually represents the point number 2, point number 3, and point number 11. Now, after the generator, certain amount of the refrigerant has been generated, which is equal to MR2, and this is the state point number 15. And you know, as we have defined the concentration here, X is equal to mass of the absorbent divided by mass of the solution. So in the numerator at point number 15, do you have any absorbent available to you at point number 15? 15 पे absorbent है क्या? Tell me. 15 पे कोई absorbent नहीं है, तो इसलिए point number 15 जो होगा, its concentration is 0. So we will be dividing this point number 11. One part will come here at point number 15, and because at point number 12 we have taken out certain amount of the refrigerant, so the concentration will increase, and this is point number 12. So basically point number 11 has been divided into two parts. One is the pure refrigerant, which is water, and point 12 where the concentration of the solution has increased from XS to XW2. So concentration has increased. Then if you see point 12 to 13, there is only change in the temperature. So 13 will be at the same point. 12 and 13 are at the same location. Between 13 and 14, what we are doing? We have a solution throttle valve. Okay, so there is no change in the concentration. So at point number 14, the pressure is reduced. So you can see at point number 14, the pressure is equal to PC. So that is how this process takes place. From 13 to 14, there is a drop in pressure. Then you see point number 14. The 14, if you see, it goes into the generator condenser in the diagram here. Okay, and it has two outlets. 14 is divided in two parts. One is point number 7 and one is point number 4 here. Okay, so 14 is divided in two parts, 7 and 4. 7 is the pure refrigerant, whereas point number 4, the concentration XW1 is higher than the concentration XW2. So you can see here, point number 14 here is divided into two parts. One is point number 4 here, where the concentration is XW1, which is higher in comparison to the concentration XW2. And simultaneously, this is point number 7 here, okay, which is the pure refrigerant. What happens to the pure refrigerant in the condenser? It is condensed, and there is no change in the concentration. There is no change in the pressure in the condenser. So point 8 will lie at the same point. Then point 17. Okay, 17. If you see here, this 15. This is the point number 15. Where was the point number 15? 15 was here. 16, 15, after passing through this generator and condenser, we get the point number 16. There is no change in the concentration here. So point number 16 will be at the same point. From 16 to 17, here, there is drop in the pressure. So no change in the concentration. So point 17 will be here along the constant concentration line. Okay, because this is the refrigerant. So we are following this line. Okay. And after point number 9 up to point number 10, it is only the evaporation in the evaporator, and there is no change in the concentration. So point number 9 and 10 lie at the same point. Between 8 to 9, there is drop in pressure in the refrigerant throttle valve, but no change in the concentration. So point number 8 to 9, this is along a constant concentration line like this. Okay, and 9 to 10 is the same point because it is the evaporation at the constant pressure. Now if you come at point number 4, 4 the concentration is XW1 and 5 it is also XW1. There is no change in the concentration, so you will find that 4 and 5 lie at the same location. And after 5 we have a solution throttle valve up to 6, so there is drop in the pressure but there is no change in the concentration. So we follow a constant concentration line like this and we reach at point number 6. Point number 6 here and point number 10 here, they mix with each other and we get point number 1. So this is following this particular line. This is how this cycle is shown on the log P versus 1/T diagram. So is it clear to you? If you have any questions,
Yes,
you can
sir.
ask. Any questions you can ask. I am waiting for the questions.
Sir,
Yes.
so why are we moving basically from single effect to double effect? Like to utilize the temperature, the energy at a particular temperature
Correct.
completely.
See what happens. अगर आपके पास 1000 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे एक हीट सोर्स है और उसको आपने 30 डिग्री सेल्सियस तक लेके जाना है एक हीट इंजन की हेल्प से, और एक आपके पास सोर्स है 500 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे, उसको भी आपने एक हीट इंजन की हेल्प से 30 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे लेके जाना है, तो किस में हमें वर्क ज़्यादा मिलेगा? बताओ जरा।
सर जो हाई टेम्परेचर पे हम लेंगे।
हाई टेम्परेचर पे है बिकॉज दैट इज हाई ग्रेड मीन्स है तो हीट 1000 डिग्री पे, बट उसका जो वर्क का पोटेंशियल है प्रोड्यूस करने का दैट इज मोर इन कंपेरिजन टू द हीट विच इज अवेलेबल एट 500 डिग्री सेल्सियस. सिमिलरली हम वेपर एब्जॉर्प्शन सिस्टम को यूज कब करते हैं? कैन यू टेल मी? जब हमारे पास कुछ वेस्ट एनर्जी अवेलेबल है. अब वेस्ट एनर्जी अगर मेरे पास से 100 डिग्री पे अवेलेबल है, 110 डिग्री पे अवेलेबल है, तो मैं उसको सिंगल इफेक्ट में यूज कर लूंगा क्योंकि उसमें नंबर ऑफ कंपोनेंट्स रिक्वायर्ड कम है. अगर मेरे पास 150 डिग्री पे हीट अवेलेबल है, वेस्ट हीट अवेलेबल है, सो व्हाई टू वेस्ट दैट 50 डिग्री टेम्परेचर लिफ्ट? 100 से 150 के बीच का जो टेम्परेचर है उस वो तो वेस्ट हो जाएगा ना मेरा, उतनी एनर्जी तो वेस्ट हो जाएगी अगर उसको मैं सिंगल इफेक्ट में यूज करता हूँ. सो व्हाई नॉट टू मॉडिफाई द सिस्टम सो दैट आई कैन गेट दी मोर कूलिंग इफेक्ट फ्रॉम द सेम अमाउंट ऑफ द हीट. मुझे 150 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे भी 100 किलो जूल हीट मिल रही है, मुझे 100 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे भी 100 किलो जूल हीट मिल रही है, लेकिन उस 100 किलो जूल हीट से जो कि 100 डिग्री पे अवेलेबल है मुझे कूलिंग इफेक्ट मिलेगा से आई विल से दैट 60 और 70 किलो जूल. लेकिन जो 100 किलो जूल हीट अवेलेबल है 150 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे, उसको उससे मैं 120 लेना चाहता हूँ कूलिंग इफेक्ट. सॉरी 120 नहीं, मतलब उसका कूलिंग इफेक्ट थोड़ा सा इंक्रीज करना चाहता हूँ, से 80 लेना चाहता हूँ या कुछ और मास फ्लो रेट में इंक्रीज करना चाहता हूँ ताकि मेरा कूलिंग इफेक्ट बढ़ जाए. So why not to utilize that amount of the energy for producing more cooling effect? Don't you think so?
Yes sir.
इसीलिए we have gone for a double effect system. और डबल इफेक्ट सिस्टम में क्या है कि हमारे पास एक तो सीरीज फ्लो है. अभी मैं आपको एक नेक्स्ट डायग्राम भी शो करता हूँ जो अभी आपको बताना था. दिस इज बेसिकली द वेरिएशन ऑफ COP, जो सिंगल इफेक्ट और डबल इफेक्ट है. आपको यहाँ पे देखने से थोड़ा सा आइडिया बन जाएगा. देखो यहाँ पे अगर जनरेटर का टेम्परेचर से समवेयर अराउंड 80 डिग्री सेल्सियस है, तो ये कर्व है सिंगल इफेक्ट के लिए COP का. दिस इज द COP. और अगर मेरे पास एक डबल इफेक्ट सिस्टम है और टेम्परेचर जो है से 125 से इट्स गोइंग अप टू 165, तो मतलब यहाँ पे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट एब्जॉर्बर टेम्परेचर के हिसाब से ये कर्व ड्रॉ किए हुए हैं. जैसे यहाँ पे ये डबल इफेक्ट, D स्टैंड्स फॉर द डबल इफेक्ट, तो ये जो कर्व मैंने शो किया है ये 40 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे था. दिस इज 40 डिग्री सेल्सियस एब्जॉर्बर टेम्परेचर. ये जो टेम्परेचर है एब्जॉर्बर का दिस इज अराउंड 30 डिग्री सेल्सियस. तो एब्जॉर्बर टेम्परेचर का भी इफेक्ट यहाँ पे दिखाई दे रहा है. लोअर द एब्जॉर्बर टेम्परेचर हायर इज द COP. Similarly here also if you will see the double effect, this is a absorber temperature of 40 degree Celsius and this is the curve of the COP. और अगर मैं एब्जॉर्बर टेम्परेचर कम करता हूँ से 37.8 करता हूँ तो यहाँ पे आ जाएगा ये टेम्परेचर एरिया, सॉरी ये टेम्परेचर एरिया एब्जॉर्बर का, तो ये COP इंक्रीज हो गया. 35 करता हूँ तो ये वैल्यू आ जाती है एंड आई कैन गो अप टू ए लोअर टेम्परेचर ऑफ ऑल्सो. तो यहाँ पे भी जा सकते हैं इस तरह से हायर COP पे. देखो अब यहाँ पे COP कितनी मिल रही है. इट इज समवेयर अराउंड 1.4। ओके, तो सिंगल इफेक्ट में कितनी मिल रही है यहाँ पे देख लो, मैक्सिमम जो मिल रही है 0.8 मिल रही है, यहाँ पे 1.4 मिल रही है COP। ओके, सो बेसिक पर्पस हमारा यही है कि हमें COP को इंक्रीज करना है। COP इंक्रीज हो रही है तो इसका मतलब कूलिंग इफेक्ट इंक्रीज हो रहा है फ्रॉम द सेम अमाउंट ऑफ द हीट। ओके, एक छोटा सा ये बताऊंगा, सारा सिस्टम वही है जो आपको बताया है, बट इसमें पैरेलल फ्लो कहते हैं इसको। पैरेलल फ्लो में क्या है, वही सॉल्यूशन हीट एक्सचेंजर 1, सॉल्यूशन हीट एक्सचेंजर 2, हाई प्रेशर जनरेटर, दिस इज लो प्रेशर जनरेटर जिसको जनरेटर कंडेंसर भी बोला है, और ये कंडेंसर है। बिल्कुल सेम सिस्टम है सेम कंपोनेंट्स हैं, बट हमने इसमें क्या किया है, यहाँ से जो सॉल्यूशन स्ट्रॉन्ग सॉल्यूशन निकला पहले यहाँ पे गया, इस पॉइंट पे आके हमने कुछ सॉल्यूशन को डायरेक्टली लो प्रेशर जनरेटर में भेज दिया और कुछ सॉल्यूशन को हाई प्रेशर जनरेटर में भेज दिया। तो बेसिकली यहाँ पे हमने इसको दो पार्ट्स में स्प्लिट कर दिया है। ओके, दो पार्ट्स में सॉल्यूशन को, पहले केस में क्या था, पहले हम यूं जा रहे थे, यहाँ से गए यूं गए और डायरेक्टली यहाँ पे गए। अब ऐसा नहीं है, हमने इसको बीच में से दो पार्ट्स में डिवाइड कर दिया। ऐसा करने से जो COP की वैल्यू होती है वो सीरीज फ्लो के कंपेरिजन में ज़्यादा मिलती है। पैरेलल फ्लो मीन्स हमने दो डायरेक्शन में उसको भेज दिया, पैरेलल लाइन से ला दी हमने सॉल्यूशन की, स्ट्रॉन्ग सॉल्यूशन की। ठीक है, so that is the only difference between a series flow double effect and a parallel flow double effect। और कल जो मैंने आपको रिसर्च पेपर भेजा था that I published in year 2009, और वो इसी सिस्टम के ऊपर था, सीरीज फ्लो के ऊपर, और जी जो पीछे आपको सिस्टम दिखाया है सीरीज फ्लो डबल इफेक्ट के ऊपर और सिंगल इफेक्ट पेपर एब्जॉर्प्शन सिस्टम के ऊपर। ओके, सो ये आप थोड़ा सा पेपर को, रिसर्च पेपर को पढ़ लेना। नाउ आई विल टेक योर अटेंडेंस। और कोई क्वेश्चन है तो बताओ।